Hi everyone, welcome to the In-Depth Poetry Analysis series by the Literature Tutor. I'm the Literature Tutor, and today the poem I've chosen is Morning Song by Silver Plough. The series is set up to help O-level students, IB students, and maybe even the Sec 2 students. I think the A-level students may find it a bit useful, especially how I analyze the devices used in the poem to look at meanings and effects. And of course, anyone else is welcome to watch this video. In fact, I want the whole world to watch. Before I start, I want to wish all literature students the best in the coming exams and future tests, future exams, and all weighted literature assignments. Let's delve into the poem immediately. Morning Song by Silver Plough. Love set you going like a fat gold watch. The midwife slapped your foot soles, and your bold cry took its place among the elements. Our voices echo, magnify your arrival. New statue in drafty museum. Your nakedness shadows our safety. We stand round blankly as walls. I'm no more your mother than the cloud that distills a mirror to reflect its own slow effacement at the wind's hand. All night your moth breath flickers among the flat pink roses. I wake to listen. A far sea moves in my ear. One cry and I stumble from bed, cow heavy and floral in my Victorian nightgown. Your mouth opens clean as a cat's. The window square whitens and swallows its dull stars. And now you try your handful of notes. The clear vowels rise like balloons. You will notice that I've highlighted certain parts, in fact a lot of parts in the poem in blue. These are the areas that I will focus on explaining now. If there are any areas you don't understand and I have not explained in this video, please feel free to give your feedback below. We go stanza by stanza, so we start with the first stanza. Love set you going like a fat gold watch. The midwife slapped your foot soles, and your bold cry took its place among the elements. Like a fat gold watch is a simile, showing how precious the baby is, how valuable. This is a little unusual to compare your child to an item that can be bought. Okay, but we'll look into all that later. Love set you going. Love refers to the love between the husband and wife. So let's go back to like a fat gold watch. I guess a fat gold watch is, like I said, very precious. Okay, so the idea of it being fat shows the baby growing, in a womb, and then arriving during birth into the world. The gold watch, I guess the gold watch is very noticeable. It captures attention, it attracts attention. So the baby, like a fat gold watch, is something too precious to be missed. No one can ignore its arrival. The midwife slapped your foot soles, and your bold cry took its place among the elements. Your bold cry took its place among the elements is synesthesia. Synesthesia means mixing the senses. So bold and cry, or rather bored and cry. Bored is basically visual. Imagine a man without any hair on his head, so he's bald, right? But cry is auditory. When you put the two together, visual with auditory, it is synesthesia. So what is the meaning of bald cry? It suggests a cry that is very basic. That is very basic in its meaning, a very naked cry without any hidden meaning. Just a cry that is loud and clear. a cry that's very noticeable, like a man with a bald head. I think they tend to kind of stand out, right? Because they have no head on their head. They have no no head. They have no hair. They have no hair on their head. Okay, they have no hair on their heads. So okay, took it. Sorry, took its place among the elements, suggesting that it is something very primeval. The cries of the baby is something very primeval, and it is a metaphor. It implies a force of nature, like the wind, the sun, the rain, because of the word took its place among the elements. You know, the elements of weather. Geog students can relate to this. Okay, let's go on to the second stanza. Our voices echo, magnify your arrival. New statue in drafty museum. Your nakedness shadows our safety. We stand round blankly as walls. So our voices echo, magnify your arrival. Is diction. It basically shows how important the infant is. New statue in drafty museum again signifies the importance of the child, because there's a statue of the child in the museum, but at the same time the infant seems foreign to the mother, albeit an important stranger. So the infant is almost like an alien, but an important one, as I've said. It is like a statue, you see statues of important people in museums. Drafty museum means a place that is rather cold and windy. Your nakedness shadows our safety. Is a metaphor to signal the importance of the child. The child's importance takes precedence again. Everyone else, the family, and of course the parents, walks in the baby's shadow. We stand as blankly as walls is an example of simile. The family no less is dazed, overwhelmed by the baby's arrival. Let's go to stanza 3. I'm no more your mother than the cloud that distills a mirror to reflect its own slow effacement, to have her thinking of her own demise. But then if you think about it, births and deaths are important events in our lives. So I guess when there's birth, there's always a death in the future. A bit morbid, I must say. Let's go to stanza 4. All night your moth breath flickers among the flat pink roses. I wake to listen, a farcy moves in my ear. So moth breath is actually a short form for mothball breath. It is usually used to refer to the breath of someone with poor oral hygiene, maybe some infection in the mouth like ulcers or tooth decay. Now, to compare a child's breath, a baby's breath especially, with that of mothballs is really, really very unusual. Flickers among the flat pink roses is synesthesia. It basically shows the mother's hypersensitivity, because in the first place, breath you can't see, but you can smell. So the fact that she can see the moth breath flickering among the pink flat roses is synesthesia, because it's combining visual with something auditory, which is the breath of the baby. Flat pink roses is visual imagery. It actually refers to the wallpaper in the bedroom. All in all, the entire sentence shows how strongly the mother feels the infant's breath, how she's so acutely aware of the infant's presence. This is very typical of new mothers. They tend to be hypersensitive, hyper aware of every movement, every sound the baby makes. I wake to listen. A far sea moves in my ear. Now, this is diction to me. Far sea suggests a yearning to be far away, away from her child, a yearning to escape from motherhood with all its accompanying demands and responsibilities. In a way, this is very understandable because new mothers are usually very exhausted. They don't have enough sleep, or any mother who has just given birth will be very exhausted, and there might be some residual pain that she experienced during the birth process. One cry, and I stumble from bed, cow heavy and floral in my Victorian nightgown. Your mouth opens clean as a cat's, the window square. One cry, all the way to from bed, is basically visual imagery combined with kinetic imagery. Of course, one cry is auditory imagery as well, but we want to focus on the visual together with the kinetic. We see the mother visually as rushing out of bed, showing a high level of attentiveness to the baby, and stumble from bed. The word stumble is kinetic because it shows vigorous movement. So the mother rushes out of bed rather clumsily. Okay? So it shows that sense of urgency, that sense of hyper attentiveness. Cow heavy implies the mother's aversion to nursing the baby, and of course also discomfort due to the speaker's nursing state. Your mouth opens as clean as a cat's. This is a simile. The baby's cries signaling the latter's demand to be fed is seen by the mother as a sense of threat, seen as insistent, demanding, imperious. You know how infants are like, especially small babies, when they cry, they usually want to eat, or they are wet, or they just want to be carried. So in this case, it appears that the child may be hungry, is likely to be hungry actually. So the mouth opens as clean as a cat's is very unusual because we will never think of comparing our baby's mouth to that of a cat, okay, to that of a cat's, because a cat's mouth has a lot of sharp teeth, especially the two canines. So she finds the cries of the baby, okay, intimidating. And when the baby cries, he or she opens the mouth very wide. And like a cat's mouth, it is quite scary to the mother. Stanza 5 and 6. Why I put 5 and 6 together? Because the window square is in stanza 5 and it continues into stanza 6. So I will read stanza 6 now. Whitens and swallows its dull stars, and now you try your handful of notes. The clear vowels rise like balloons. The window square, which is in stanza 5, whitens and swallows its dull stars. This is enjambment. This enjambment, which is a deliberate break in a line, is meant to slow down the reading of the poem. It slows down the poem's pace. What does it indicate? It indicates the mother feeling very heavy-hearted. There's some resentment in her. And of course, there is dread. The window square, which basically symbolizes the responsibilities, the room that the mother is in, which is the place of her responsibilities. Now whitens and swallows is down stars, which is showing her apprehension, anxiety, and a sense of dread. The night with its stars is no longer beautiful. The stars are down. The window square of the bedroom now signifies responsibilities and obligations that weigh the speaker down. And now your handful of notes, which is diction. The baby's cries are compared to music. The clear vowels rise like balloons, shows that it is pleasing to the ear. It is a simile again. Now I've come to the end of the discussion of the poem, but I like to end it with some important notes. The title Morning Song symbolizes a new beginning full of promise and hope with the birth of the baby, although some of the stanzas portray the mother or speaker experiencing dread, apprehension, and a sense of being trapped. The arrival of a newborn and otherwise happy occasion is marked by the mother's apprehension and dread. However, the poem ends on a positive note. In the last stanza, the mother finds the baby's cries delightful, whimsical, appealing, and pleasing like balloons. The poem is rich in sensory language with the rapid changes of images that typifies much of Plath's poetry. The presence of powerfully evocative language depicts the contradictory emotional state of the new mother as she grapples with the realization of this dawning of a new chapter in her life. But overall, I would say that the poem is positive. As I said with my first point, morning song, okay, it is actually full of promise. It symbolizes promise, even joy. Morning is always the beginning of a new day. So the title suggests very strongly that it is a happy occasion. It is an occasion to sing about, although there are certain fears and anxieties felt by the mother in the poem. Essay questions to practice. Well, after I've done all the analysis, I would like my students and other students to try some of the questions here. I've come up with 3. The first one, what strikes you about the way the persona responds to the arrival of the child in lines 1 to 9? Question 2, how does the poet dramatically convey the mother's feelings towards her child in lines 10 to 18? Question 3, what impressions do you have of the mother's thoughts and feelings towards the newborn? For my students who are watching this, I will really appreciate if you choose one of the questions. Do it before the next lesson. I've come to the end of my analysis of the poem and hence the session. Thank you for watching this session. Please share with those who are likely to find the session helpful. Remember to press the like and subscription buttons below. See you soon and take care.